Okay, so open your books up. It will be to page 51. Open your books to page 51. Now we're going to continue to talk about quadratics. Now let's go back and review just quickly. All right, we've had the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now this easily tells you the y-intercept. Okay. We've also had the factored form, which is, let me just do f of x right here. A parentheses x minus r x minus s. And I can get the y-intercepts from this. I can also get the x-intercepts from this. Now today we're going to learn the vertex form. And this is that, where h and k is the ordered pair of the vertex. Okay, so one thing that we're going to talk about is that h and k, they don't put x and y, because obviously you have x's and y's in here, so they don't want to confuse you. So they call this h and k. Now look, this is the pair. Okay, thank you. This is the pair that is the vertex. Okay, so if I give you y equals x minus 3 squared plus 2, the vertex of that graph is 3, 2. Now keep in mind, when you have anything going into parentheses or coming out of parentheses, the sign changes. Okay? Because you see this formula right here. So let me sketch this for you. By the way, looking at this, would this be an upward facing U or a downward facing U? Upward. Do we know why? Okay, it's positive out here. So that means this is going to be an upward facing U. The vertex will be 3, 2. Remember, the vertex is the maximum or minimum point of that function. That means it's either the highest point or it's the lowest point. Now, what is the axis of symmetry? Yeah. So we're identifying the 3 of the vertex, right? How do I write? So if I'm going like this and I'm dividing this in half perfectly, how would I write that equation of that line? X equals 3. Now, they often will ask you this question, and let me make sure that I write it correctly. Find the appropriate least or greatest value of function and the x value where this occurs. Oh, woo, sorry, I should get your phones out for 1 minute. Okay, it's a phone break, Addison. So you get your phone out. I'll count it down. Sometimes I give you a minute 15. All right, let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's put them up. All right, so here is the question, and they'll ask this question, and it's meant to be tricky, but it's not hard. It says find the appropriate least or greatest value of the function and the x value where this occurs. So I think this kind of messed me up as my little buzzer went off. Okay, so looking at this graph, knowing that this is the vertex and it occurs at 3, 2, what is the lowest value? Now, when we're talking about greatest or lowest or max or min, I'm going up and down which axis? The y. So guess which value I'm looking for? The y. So what is the least or greatest value of this graph? 2. Is it the least or is it the greatest? So we have a minimum at y equals 2. Where is the x, or what is the x value where this occurs? X equals 3. Guys, it's not meant to be hard. It's just tricky the way they write it. Now, there's one last thing that we can determine from this graph. So I'm going to try to draw this somewhat, try to draw a fairly good sketch. Did you know you can tell the range? What is it?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were teaching a double period and it was between classes.
Oh, you just dropping off some money?
Yes, ma'am.
Put your name on the sticky note, and I will write you a receipt and get it. Okay, so this is not a very good, but it's 3, 2. I have a vertex at 3, 2. Did you know you can tell the range of this function? How can I tell the range? I'm going from bottom. No, range would be y. Okay, so I'm going from bottom to top. So nothing, nothing, nothing until I get right there. Range deals with which values? Values of y. What's the first value of y? 2. So my range, I can write it 2 different ways. Y is greater than or less than? Greater than or equal to 2. Because my lowest y value is 2. And then all my y values are greater than that. Does that make sense? The other way I can write this in interval notation is 2, comma, infinity. So you can tell all that from that one little equation. Okay, so let's look at a few more of these. Let me give you one. Go this way. And write that one down for me. And I want you to list the vertex, the axis of symmetry, whether this is a max or min, and at those values. And I want to know the range. Okay, what is my vertex? -3, -5. So my vertex, I take the point away from the x. When I do that, when I solve for the x value, it's -3. -5, my axis of symmetry. X equals -3. You always have to tell me x equals. Now, is this a max or min? It's a max. How do I know that? That negative sign, very good. That negative sign flips it, makes it do, so I'm -3, -5, so I'm like something like this. Okay? So it's a max. At which values? We're going to say y equals at x equals, not hard, they just, keep in mind when you're talking max or min, high or low, I'm drawing that y-axis. So it's what they want the y. And the range, now looking at this, the range, bottom, I've got things coming from where? -infinity, and they stop at -5, parentheses, brackets. How else could I write that? Y is less than or equal to -5. Make sure I put a y equals on that range. Today. Yep, I did. Okay, just making sure I did not inadvertently write an X. Okay, real quick, I want you to turn to page 54. So you got a quiz tomorrow. This is going to be part of it. I want you to turn to page 54, and I want you to do number 1, A, B, C. And number 2, A, B, C. Okay, I give you a few minutes to do those.